A mochi moment from Mark, who writes, I just want to thank you for making GLP-1s affordable. What would have been over $1,000 a month is just $99 a month with Mochi. Money shouldn't be a barrier to healthy weight. 3 months in, and I have smaller jeans and a bigger wallet. You're the best. Thanks, Mark. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Mark is a Mochi member compensated for his story.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
Voices for Justice is a podcast that uses adult language and discusses sensitive and potentially triggering topics, including violence, abuse, and murder. This podcast may not be appropriate for younger audiences. All parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Some names have been changed or omitted per their request or for safety purposes. Listener discretion is advised.
My name is Sarah Turney, and this is Voices for Justice. Today, I'm discussing the case of Leah Roberts. In the year 2000, 23-year-old Leah Roberts packed up some of her belongings along with her new kitten into her Jeep and headed west for Washington. She left behind a note telling her loved ones not to worry and that she'd be back. But nearly 25 years later, Leah is still missing. This is the case of Leah Roberts. On March 19, 2000, Kara Roberts had just one wish on her birthday, that her sister, who'd been missing for 10 days, would call her. Kara last spoke with her sister Leah on the phone on the morning of March 9th, and they ended that call by saying that they'd see each other soon. That afternoon, Leah made plans with her roommate and good friend Nicole to make a little extra cash babysitting the next day. But Leah never showed. Her Jeep and her new kitten Bee were also missing. Now, it wasn't totally abnormal for Leah to have these spur-of-the-moment trips. After losing both of her parents within just a few years of each other and surviving a nearly fatal car crash, Leah became more interested in soul-searching than school or keeping a regular schedule. She actually dropped out of her classes at North Carolina State University just a few months before she was set to graduate with degrees in both anthropology and Spanish. But while she didn't plan on giving up her goal to graduate altogether, she did decide to go on this soul-searching journey. She began writing poetry, learning guitar and photography, and she adopted her kitten Bee. She openly discussed her fascination with the author Jack Kerouac, and traveling west from her home in Raleigh, North Carolina. Leah was a dreamer. She specifically told her friend from college, Renee Bolton, that she might want to travel to Washington someday. But again, she also had plans. She had aspirations, and she had loved ones that she cared about dearly. So when Leah didn't come back or contact anyone after not showing up for her babysitting gig, they knew something had to be wrong. And her sister Kara reported her missing on March 13th. On the 14th, Kara and Nicole decided to search Leah's room. And here they find cash for Leah's part of the rent and a note dated for March 9th, 2000. According to reporting by Carrie Thurene Shaw for the Bellingham Herald, that note read, quote, Nicole, this is to cover the bills while I'm gone. Remember, everyone is together in thoughts and prayers and time passes quickly. Have faith in me, yourself. Help Shep with Easter at Lotta House for fun for the children. Give Peter my laptop. Give everyone my love. See you soon. Tell Kara don't worry, even though she will. Leah. Cookies in the freezer. Then, circled and in large letters, reads April 23rd, on the road. No, I'm not suicidal. I'm the opposite. Remember Jack Kerouac? Then boxed in small letters, it says, tell Nikki I meant to come, but I had no choice. She'll understand. Then again, boxed in small letters, it says, Tell Melissa she should come stay in my room if she wants to come to Raleigh. And that's the end of the note. None of us know what was going on in Leah's head while she wrote this, but there are indicators that she plans to come back. This is for bills when I'm gone. See you soon. Tell Kara not to worry. I'm not suicidal. I'm the opposite. Of course, like Leah said, Kara was still worried, but she had a plan. Leah went on a trip to Costa Rica not long before this, and had given Kara power of attorney over her bank accounts just in case. She never revoked it when she got back to the States, so Kara uses her power of attorney to gain access to Leah's bank accounts. And according to Leah's episode of Disappeared, this is what her bank account reveals. On March 9th, Leah went to her bank and withdrew $3,000. Her debit card was then used to pay for a motel room in Tennessee. After this, there's a string of transactions for things like food and gas until Leah reaches the West Coast. The last transaction was for gas in Oregon around midnight on March 13th, the same day Leah was reported missing. So while of course it's concerning, it does seem like at this point that it's very likely Leah was just on a soul-searching journey out west. Probably heading to Washington like she told her friend Renee she might want to do someday. Now, I do think it's important to kind of dig into what Leah was reading at this time. Before she went missing, she was greatly inspired by 2 books written by Jack Kerouac. One is called On the Road. It was first published in 1957, and it's a semi-autobiographical account of Jack's travels across America in the late 1940s and early 1950s. The story follows a guy named Sal. He's a young writer, and his friend Dean, a likable drifter. They basically embark on a road trip across the U.S., searching for adventure and meaning in their own lives. The second was called Dharma Bums. It's another semi-autobiographical novel following Jack in the late 1950s as he explores Buddhism, spirituality, and the pursuit of enlightenment. Leah's friend Jeannie remembers this last conversation she had with Leah where they spoke about Jack Kerouac. Leah said that she was inspired to go to Desolation Peak in Washington, the same mountain that Jack Kerouac stood at, contemplating leaving behind the materials of life. Leah explained that she wanted to take a similar journey by herself to figure out who she wanted to be. She added that she felt lost and didn't know who she was anymore. All signs were pointing to Washington. Leah's conversations, her bank records, it all seemed to fall in place. So by March 19th, Kara's birthday, she's expecting to get a call from her sister. Leah was a free spirit and maybe a little lost, but she loved her friends and family. There was no way she wouldn't call for her sister's birthday. But when the phone finally rang, it wasn't Leah. It was the Whatcom County Sheriff's Office in Washington. They tell her that Leah's white 1993 Jeep Cherokee had been found off an abandoned logging road near Glacier. And Leah, unfortunately, wasn't in it. This episode of Voices for Justice is brought to you by Quince. I've been trying to be more intentional about what I wear each day. I'm leaning into pieces that feel effortless, comfortable, and still put together, and Quince has been my go-to. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are flattering, and everything just works without overthinking it. They use premium materials like 100% European linen, organic cotton, and ultra-soft denim. And the best part? Everything is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They work directly with ethical factories and cut out the middlemen, so you're paying for quality and craftsmanship, not brand markup. I recently just ordered their tiered linen dress, of course in black. I wanted to pair it with one of my favorite pairs of brown wedges. The problem was, I didn't have a brown purse, so I got that from Quince too. It's one of my favorite outfits. It's easy, effortless, and feels amazing, especially as we're getting a little bit warmer here in Phoenix. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/justice for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/justice for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/justice.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Chewy. If you have pets, you probably know about Chewy, and you also know that when they say that they have everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy, they're not messing around. To keep them happy, Chewy has over 100,000 products from all the brands my pets love at prices I love. To keep them healthy, Chewy offers pet prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and they're even rolling out vet clinics across the country. I've been shopping with them for a very long time. And in addition to the auto-ship feature that gets the dog's food to them every single month, I also love to experiment with different treats. But I'm a bit picky. For me, it has to be high quality with simple ingredients. I recently picked up treats from Shepherd Boy Farms that are 100% just chicken breast. Popcorn and Heber are already obsessed. Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. And right now, you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. That's chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details. On the morning of March 18th, a couple was jogging their normal route when they spotted a bunch of clothes hanging from a tree. When they get closer to take a look, they see it. Leah's Jeep had crashed in a ditch. It was found upright, but it was apparent that it had rolled over at least once. Leah's belongings, including her passport, her checkbook, guitar, and CDs, were all around the Jeep. There was no blood, signs of a struggle, or any indication that anyone had been injured. But obviously something was very wrong here, so they called the police to report what they found. When investigators get to the scene and take a look around, they quickly rule out robbery, but not foul play. Now, reports about the amount do vary in the media, but they find a considerable amount of cash in her Jeep, along with her mother's engagement ring, which, according to her loved ones, was likely the most valuable item in the vehicle. It was also something that Leah wore every single day. The carrier for Leah's cat was also still in the Jeep, but B wasn't in it. They also find blankets kind of draped across the broken windows, as if maybe someone used the Jeep for temporary shelter. And we know that Leah had a cell phone, but it's unclear if she took it with her on this trip, and it was not found in her Jeep. After gathering all the information they can from the scene and Leah's Jeep, investigators conclude that the vehicle was likely going at least 30 miles per hour when it crashed. And that's despite it going uphill at the time. The seatbelt never engaged or extended. So either no one was in the Jeep or they weren't wearing their seatbelt. But again, there were no signs of any struggle, blood, or injury. There are also no tracks leading away from the Jeep. For what appeared to be a pretty nasty crash, they couldn't confirm that anyone was in the vehicle upon impact. Kara and Leah's brother Heath immediately get on a plane to go to Washington to meet with investigators. When they get there, they are taken to Leah's Jeep, and they meet with the press, pleading with the papers and news broadcasts for anyone who might know anything to please come forward. Investigators also launch a huge land and air search in the dense forest where her Jeep was found. They also specifically use metal detectors. After Leah's near-fatal car crash, she had a metal rod placed in one of her legs. So, as morbid as it sounds, if Leah was met with foul play and discarded or buried somewhere, metal detectors would obviously help immensely during the search. But there was no trace of Leah or her cat. They also checked with local hospitals and care clinics, but she wasn't there either. Now, inside the Jeep, they also found a movie ticket, It appears that Leah had gone to see the movie American Beauty in Bellingham, Washington on March 13th. So her siblings go and hand out flyers near the theater. They also go to Seattle and stop at every record store they come across. They search everywhere they can for their sister. Authorities conducted another aerial search on March 24th. They thought maybe if Leah had possibly become disoriented and lost in the woods, she was just wandering somewhere. But that search also came up empty. During the investigation, they were able to confirm a lot of what I told you about Leah's trail leading to Washington. On March 10th, Leah spent the night in a motel near Memphis, Tennessee. And by March 12th, she had already made it to Oregon. On the 13th, the same day she was reported missing in North Carolina, Leah was watching American Beauty. Kara told investigators and reporters that her sister wouldn't voluntarily worry her family and friends. And she believes that her sister always had a plan to return home from her trip. She said that she was pretty confident that Leah had a plan and knew what she was doing and where she was going up until the 13th. Pretty quickly, Whatcom County investigators teamed up with the FBI to expand their search. But that brought very few leads. And as much as I'm sure Kara and Heath would have loved to stay in Washington, there really wasn't much else they could do. And on the 26th, they flew back to North Carolina, really without any answers as to what happened to Leah.
What they did to your family, you're lucky to make it out alive.
Streaming on Peacock.
These men are going to come after me. Taking them out is my only chance.
Put a bullet in her head.
From the co-creator of Ozark.
Looks like a family was running drugs.
Execution-style killing, it's rare for the Keys. Any leads on who they might have been running for?
The cartel killed my family. I'm gonna kill them. All of them.
MIA. Streaming now. Only on Peacock.
Over the next few days, weeks, and months, investigators of course continued to work her case. They pulled Leah's cell phone records, and she didn't make a single call after leaving North Carolina. As far as I know, her phone has never been recovered. There was a camera with undeveloped film found in the Jeep wreckage, and investigators were hoping that that would bring some answers. They developed the film, they asked Heath and Kara to come take a look, but the photos appeared to be from the previous winter, not this trip. It was another dead end. Unsolved Mysteries featured Leah's case about a year after she vanished. Of course, at the end of the episode, they go over the possible scenarios leading to Leah's disappearance. One of those scenarios is that Leah was just inspired by Jack Kerouac. She voluntarily abandoned her life to find herself, leaving behind all her worldly possessions and relationships with friends and family. But Leah's sister, in response to this, said, quote, "I can understand Leah's needing to get away and find some peace with herself. But considering the loss that our family experienced, it's difficult for me to think that she would leave us open for another loss like this." End quote. Heath addressed the same topic, saying, quote, "It's difficult to imagine her wanting to distance herself from her family for as long as she has. But of course, you don't want to imagine the negative things that could have happened." End quote. I would say, just my opinion here, that the letter she left in her apartment correlates with her siblings' sentiments. I think it would take an incredibly cruel person to leave a letter stating multiple times that they'd be back not long after these siblings lost both their parents, and just leave them with this open-ended mystery, leave them with another massive loss in their lives. I mean, in true crime, anything's possible. But it does feel unlikely given what we know about Leah and the case. Now, Unsolved Mysteries would also report that a week after Leah's Jeep was discovered, an anonymous tip came in from a man reporting that his wife had seen Leah at a gas station 30 miles from Seattle, and that she seemed disoriented and confused. But as they tried to get more information from this caller, he got nervous and hung up. As far as I know, this tip didn't lead anywhere. But by April, detectives told reporters that investigators had spoken to a witness who talked to Leah at a restaurant before she went to see American Beauty. This story is admittedly a little fuzzy, and has been told in a few different ways across different media sources. But it appears that Leah went into this restaurant alone. Then she began speaking with 2 different men. One of the men says, yes, I remember her, we spoke about Jack Kerouac. But she ended up leaving with a man named Barry. While the other man never even mentions a man named Barry. Investigators do commission a sketch of this man, but in the end, they state publicly that they believe the story about the man named Barry was most likely fabricated. And eventually, the witness who mentioned Barry stops speaking with them. On April 11, 2000, a $5,000 reward was offered for any information about Leah's disappearance. Investigators at this point were also waiting for forensic testing of her Jeep to come back. While the official investigation was happening, her friends and family were working in the background. Kara, Heath, Nicole, and Leah's friend Susie teamed up in that first year of Leah's disappearance to do whatever they could as a group and individually to find her. Kara and Heath said that since their parents were no longer here, they felt like it was their responsibility to find their sister. Nicole said that she spent the first year of Leah's disappearance pulling out atlases and trying to guess where Leah may have gone. She carried around a thick black notebook jotting down anything she thought might help investigators. Managers at a local coffee shop in Raleigh, Cup of Joe, said that Leah had been writing there for several hours a day over the past 6 months before she went missing. And it turns out that one of the customers at the coffee shop quickly became friends with Leah. John Christie reports that he was worried about her being on the road. He said that she was just so trusting, and all he could hope was that nothing bad would happen to her. He also mentioned that in their conversations, Leah had never talked about knowing anyone in Washington. Many of Leah's friends really dissected that note and the reference to Jack Kerouac as maybe holding clues to where she might have gone, but nothing led them to Leah. About a year into the investigation, Leah's loved ones wanted to do anything they could to help her, but didn't really know where to start. That's when they partnered with the Community United Effort Center for Missing Persons. They gave them ideas like trying to host a candlelight vigil, holding a march, or maybe even a concert to help bring awareness to Leah's case. Nicole and Susie hit the ground running. They got to work and began planning a benefit concert to raise money and awareness for Leah's investigation. And it was a huge success. Almost everything was donated by local businesses, and bands came out and played for free. So many people showed up that they were able to raise $2,000. But despite all these efforts, the harsh reality of Leah being missing was undeniable. Leah's siblings have talked about how her disappearance has been worse than a death. They said that if they knew that she was dead, they would at least be able to mourn, while also acknowledging that on the flip side, not having these answers and not knowing means that she could still be out there. She could still maybe reappear in their lives. Nicole also talked about the guilt she had about her missing friend. She said, quote, "I think about her, and then I realized I haven't thought about her in a while, and I feel so guilty. It's this perpetual battle in your mind." End quote. Of course, over time there were more leads and sightings of Leah. In 2002, Kara and Heath even drove to Delaware to follow up on a report that 2 women who resembled Leah were wandering in the area, but neither woman turned out to be Leah. In 2004, they continued working with the Community United Effort Center for Missing Persons. They actually ended up putting together this tour event that they would do every year, with each event dedicating a cross-country trek to a different missing person. And while Leah's family was working hard to raise awareness in hopes of generating tips in her case, the sheriff's office wasn't giving up either. In 2006, Leah's file was given to 2 new detectives. And like we see in so many cases with fresh eyes, they found something they felt was overlooked. Well, was overlooked. Leah's Jeep hadn't fully been processed. Now, remember, Leah's Jeep was driving pretty fast uphill when it crashed, and they found that her Jeep had been tampered with in such a way to allow for the engine to engage without having to step on the gas pedal. Someone with advanced mechanical knowledge tampered with her Jeep. They also find a single fingerprint under the hood, And it turns out that one of the witnesses who talked about her leaving with a man named Barry, was a skilled mechanic. But in the end, that fingerprint has not been a match to any person of interest or witness in this case. Now, they do also have unknown male DNA from a piece of Leah's clothing, but investigators have not released the results of that testing. And that is pretty much where Leah's case is today. Unfortunately, it seems like there's a lot more lore than evidence in Leah's case. But as far as I could find, most of Leah's loved ones and the investigators lean more towards foul play than her up and leaving her entire life behind. Not to mention somehow managing to stay hidden for nearly 25 years now. Which brings me right to our call to action. Please share Leah's case, especially if you're in the Washington area. I really do hope that Leah is recovered alive and well. But if she was met with foul play, I think that metal rod from her leg will be the easiest thing to identify. There is also still DNA in this case that does not appear to have been tested for at least a few years. A little extra media push could be exactly what her case needs to get some extra funds for testing. As mysterious as her case might appear to be, we all know that these things done in the dark eventually do come to light. As a reminder, Leah was 23 years old when she went missing in Washington in March 2000. She is white with sandy blonde hair and blue eyes. She is 5'6", and at the time of her disappearance weighed 130 pounds. She has a surgical scar on her right hip, a metal rod inside the entire length of her femur, a beauty mark on the upper corner of her right lip, her ears are pierced, and she has dimples. Anyone with information is asked to call the Whatcom County Sheriff's Office at 360-778-6600. But as always, thank you, I love you, and I'll talk to you next time. Voices for Justice is hosted and produced by me, Sarah Turney, and is a Voices for Justice media original. This episode contains writing and research assistance by Aaron Reed. If you love what we do here, please don't forget to follow, rate, and review the show in your podcast player. It's an easy and free way to help us and help more people find these cases in need of justice. Welcome to the Secret After Show. The studio door is open and our emotional support puppies, Heber and Popcorn, are in the room. As far as updates with me and or the show, I did want to share with you guys that I started a Discord server for the podcast. I am admittedly a little bit, I can't say new to Discord. I swear I've had a Discord account for like 10 years. I am not the most skilled at Discord, but I am trying. I just thought it would be like a fun way to connect, and with all these social media platforms being, just a little bit unpredictable, I thought maybe starting a Discord server would be a good idea. I know that there are apparently like threats of Discord going away too. I don't know, but I did start a Discord server. If you want to join, if you want to give me tips on how to use it, how to make channels, let me know, please do. There'll be a link in the episode description. But let's go on to the case. Leah's case, I don't know, it's so hard because I feel like it's presented as this like crazy, larger than life mystery. And I feel like often in the media that I consulted, they bring you down like a million different paths that that I think you can logically go down yourself without me kind of playing that game with you, for lack of a better word. Like, do I need to sit there and theorize about how it's possible that the guy from the restaurant is possibly involved? I don't really think so. I think sitting there and talking out those logistics for like 15 minutes is kind of just like a time filler, to be totally honest. I don't know. You guys let me know. Maybe I feel like because of my own experiences in true crime and the way that I feel they should be reported, that maybe I am not considering that could be something that is worth going down. I don't know. You guys tell me. As always, I am open to your feedback. I just think it's interesting that when you look at the media surrounding this case, sometimes in like traditional media, it's typically a pretty short story. But when you look up, when people start going down theories, they'll talk about Leah's case for like 2 hours. And I'm not finding information to expand on like that. At least information that I feel is worth expanding on, I should say. Like I said, when we encounter a path where we could explore every single possibility, I don't know that it's always worth doing that. I don't know. You guys tell me. Tell me what you think. I mean, for me, like between the tampering of her vehicle, the unknown prints, DNA found, I think the signs are pointing to foul play. Even though I too love Jack Kerouac, and I was an English major. I was an English major with an emphasis in creative writing. I love Jack Kerouac. I could talk about that forever and go down that rabbit hole. But I don't think it would do Leah's case justice. Again, let me know. As far as media discrepancies, holy discrepancies, you guys. It's like, I don't know. It's one of those cases where it's been around for a long time, but there's not like a ton of credible media sources. You know, there are some old episodes of Unsolved Mysteries. The old episode disappeared. There were quite a few discrepancies, and I hope, as always, that I got as close to the exact facts as I could. As far as the hero of this episode, I'm going to give it to Leah's sister, Kara. I think, remember, like, the whole power of attorney over her bank accounts and being like, no, I'm going to check on that right away. Good for her. Good for you, girl. I mean, really, both her siblings seem to jump right into action and do what they have to do. And again, I can't imagine losing both your parents within a few years and then your sister. I mean, it's unthinkable. So unthinkable. And it's another reason why I keep going back to everything I found about Leah. I don't think she would be that cruel. I never knew Leah. I don't like when random true crime hosts like me try to make assumptions about people that they don't know. I just think leaving after those particular set of circumstances is like, it's got to be like one of the cruelest things you could ever do to somebody. And I think it would take a really extreme person or extreme set of circumstances for that to happen. I don't know. But I'm giving it to her sister. But let's go on to our segment of hope. This comes from January 2nd, I cannot believe it's 2025, you guys, 2025. This is from David Chu with People.com, and the title of the article reads, Woman who disappeared in 1972 found safe and well thanks to grainy photo, police say. The article goes on to read, authorities in England announced that a woman who had been previously missing for 52 years, you guys, was found alive after police recently shared a blurry photo of her at the time of her disappearance. So it looks like they put this blurry black and white photo of her on their department's website and on social media. And hours after posting, they started getting information. And by Wednesday, January 1st, the police came out and said that Sheila Fox was located and spoke with authorities who confirmed that she's alive and well. She went missing when she was 16 and disappeared from the English city of Coventry in 1972, and now she's 68 years old. Now, they're not exactly saying what happened, like why she went missing, or, what she said when she came forward. This article literally says, no additional information was offered in the news release about the circumstances or reasons that led to Fox's disappearance more than 5 decades ago. But I think that's another lesson for us, right? I know, I'm like so about the lessons. In the end, she was found safe and well. And do we need to know the story of how or why? I mean, would it be interesting to know? Sure. Do we need to know? No. That is 100% Sheila's business, and I'm just really, really glad that she was found alive and well. But I think the reason I really liked this for the segment of hope is because these random, I guess they're not random detectives, but these detectives saw this pretty old case and thought, you know what? What's the harm in putting this picture on our website? What's the harm on sharing this on social media? These things are pretty easy to do. Unless you're paying like a web developer, it should be pretty cheap, if not free, to do these things. And then bam, a case was solved. I love when just like compassion and care for these cases leads to a solve. I think it's amazing when that's really all it takes. So shout out to those detectives. Shout out to Sheila. I'm so glad that you're alive and well. And that is our segment of hope. Thank you. I love you. And I'll talk to you next time.